Under new orders from President Trump, more categories of immigrants have strong reasons to fear deportation. The enforcement's aimed at people in the country without legal status, but enforcement could also affect other people, such as children born in the United States. Since the orders came out, the city has been trying to help and give reassurance. To bring us up to date is the Policy and Communications Advisor with the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Advancement, An Lee. Thank you very much for being with us, An.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, I imagine you must be at least getting more calls from people right now.
Yes, absolutely. Our office's call volume has increased by a little bit over double. So I'd say about 1.1 times as much as we're normally getting.
And I guess that's one of the reasons the mayor has just started a series of forums in the neighborhoods too?
That's right. So in addition to facilitating Know Your Rights presentations in the community with immigration lawyers and advocates, we also wanted people who live in Boston to know that the city is there for them and to essentially reaffirm to them the sorts of services that are available to them, that have always been available to them, and that we stand with them. So we had our first community forum with Mayor Walsh and with many officials from the city at the ISBCC in Roxbury.
Islamic Society of Boston Cultural Center. Right.
And it's the first of several.
Right. Sure. Now, I know part of the message, because I was at this event, so the mayor wanted to make sure that people understood their relationship with the police department, for instance. Just to remind people, this is something the mayor has talked about before, that I guess, if you're worried about being victimized by a crime, you should not be afraid of talking to police.
Absolutely. One of the big priorities for our city, and I'm sure for many cities, is public safety, if not all cities, is public safety. And we want to make sure that people feel that they can trust local police. And here that means the Boston Police Department. And part of that trust means that people, regardless of immigration status, can feel that they can approach Boston police to report crimes, to cooperate with investigations without having to worry about immigration enforcement.
Well, what also surprised me a little bit is something that Mayor brought up. It was really about trust between neighbors. He wants people, especially immigrants who are concerned, to talk to their neighbors. What did he mean by that?
I think that in a city of neighborhoods, which Boston very much is, it's important that people continue to get to know each other. I think that his message was that relationships matter, and the more that people get to know each other, the more they'll appreciate how much they have in common. And when we do that, we're truly a stronger city. So when he says that, I think he means when we get to know each other, we appreciate each other's immigrant heritages more, and then the fears of the other, the fears of the unknown about others decreases.
This is BNN News, and we're talking with An Lee from the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Advancement. Now, you have a real concentration of immigrant students in the Boston public school system, and I guess they're really making quite an effort to reach out here, too.
Sure. Actually, the number of students in Boston public schools who are foreign-born is not that high. However, 48% of our students have at least one foreign-born parent. So half of our families are immigrant families, and they are as much of a priority for us as any other student, obviously. And with the goal of helping to facilitate learning, we want to make sure that the students feel safe and welcomed in their learning environment, so that they can reach their full potential.
I guess there's a website here that has information. I guess if a student, maybe a parent, who knows, they could be detained somewhere or something like that too.
Right. So the website was launched on Friday of last week. It's called bpswedreamtogether.org. So bpswedreamtogether.org, and it's a resource website for immigrant students and their families. There's a whole section for educators to help educators better serve the students and their families. And the resources themselves are in 15 different languages, and are written by experts. So it's not as if Boston Public Schools kind of made this up. You know, it's really a repository of resources for families, and of course an affirming statement of where our public schools stand from Superintendent Chang.
Of course, one of the concerns out there, and this was the front page of El Mundo that just came out, is that if an agent comes to your house, what do you do? This isn't about giving advice as much as what's the lay of the law here?
Sure. You know, that's a difficult situation. What we're doing is we're having Know Your Rights presentations that we're coordinating with the PAIR project, and they're coordinating with volunteer attorneys throughout the whole region. And these Know Your Rights presentations will elaborate further as to what people's rights are when they're approached by ICE. But as a general matter, you know, unless any law enforcement officer has a warrant signed by a judge, you know, they don't have the authority to go into your home unless you consent to that, unless you let them in.
Of course, another concern here is that this is the opposite kind of concern, is that rumors could spread, you know, scary stories go around that aren't true.
Right, right. Our office has become aware of several of these that have gone viral throughout the greater Boston area, and of immigration enforcement activities that turned out to not be those things at all. You know, we urge people to not spread false rumors unless they can verify that things are true. We are doing our best to try to get to the bottom of rumors, to see if they're true or not, and try to keep our constituents informed. But you know, I have to say it's been very difficult sometimes to figure out whether or not something happened.
Well, anyhow, if people want some more information, especially about some legal advice that they can get from these free sessions, is there a way they get in touch with your office?
Sure, absolutely. They can call our office. Our main line is 617-635-2980. Again, 617-635-2980. And if that's too hard to remember, you can call the City of Boston's main non-emergency call line, 311. And then there's websites to help folks with this sort of thing. There's masslegalhelp.org/immigration. There's IMMI.org, which is a national effort, IMMI.org. And folks can get more legal information and resources there as well.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
An Lee from the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Advancement. Still to come, taking the plunge for Boston Harbor. We'll hear about efforts to improve local beaches. But first, this message.